guys, I'm going video today. A couple things I wanted to rant about. Build versus buy versus free. Let's take buy versus free first. I don't want to get into the argument of Omniture is better than Google, Google is better than Omniture. People are debating this for years, they'll continue to. It's not a simple argument, don't care to get into it. What I do want to talk about though is the mentality that free solutions create in some businesses. And I've seen this in the past, and I've seen it popping up more and more, is that when companies go with a free solution, they have a tendency to be lazy. It's free, we don't have to put a lot of investment into it, let's just slap the tags on the pages and we have analytics. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. It takes a lot of work to make an analytics practice work and work right. You need to define, you need to have the proper people in place, you need to test, and it's an ongoing process. The analogy that I've come up with, because I like to cook, is beef. Don't jump down my throat saying Google Analytics isn't ground beef. That's not what I'm trying to portray here. It's just for the sake of argument, and the mentality that you get into when you pay a lot of money for a product versus you get a product for free or for cheap. So in this analogy, I'm going to say that Google Analytics is $3.99 a pound ground beef, and Omniture's a really high-end Wagyu beef. Could cost upwards of a couple $100s a pound. When you get a very expensive cut of beef, I'm going to be very careful with it. I'm going to really plan my meal out. I'm going to take my time. I want to get the full value out of that. It's a big investment I've made in some beef, so I want to make sure it's really perfect. I really want to make it go well. On the other end, if I've got some ground beef in the freezer and I just want to throw together some hamburger helper, I could get into the mentality of being lazy. I'll just throw everything in the pot and hopefully it comes out right. Sometimes it does. My kids love it. And in some situations it's the right solution. It's not the taste of the food, it's not the value you can get out of it, it's the mentality it creates. If I took the mentality of I can just throw this Wagyu beef on the grill and not really pay attention to it, I could waste my investment in it. So it's really about the mentality it creates, and I think when people put down a hefty investment in a Webtrans or an Omniture, they're more likely to wrap the whole practice around a project and put the right support behind it, saying we've got to make this work, it's a big investment. Whereas if companies say, well, we'll just throw Google Analytics on there, a lot of times I've seen the companies not get behind that effort simply because it's free. They haven't invested a lot of time into it. So that's my first rant. My second one is the buy versus build solution option. For most of us, I'm going to say that buying is the right way to go. Now, there are times when building is what is needed, but for most of the time, really, it's a buy decision, and that's what it comes down to for most things in life. We go to the experts, the people that do what they do because they're good at it to get the service or the product that we need. I've seen companies go with the build decision because Omniture doesn't do X or Webtrans doesn't do Y. I understand that, but if either one of those vendors tried to build the perfect solution, it would be $1 trillion and no one could afford it. So you can basically come up with an alternative. You can come up with some creativity in your practice to get around some of the things it doesn't do or doesn't do well, or you can build your own. The analogy I'm going to use here is a car. I wish my car did a couple of things it doesn't do, so I could either come up with some creative solutions, go buy a different car, or I could build my own. I could build out my perfect car. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, it's probably going to end up costing me 1,000 times more than if I just went down to the dealer and bought it. And not only that, because I don't have the expertise, it's going to take me longer. I don't have this team around me that these analytics companies do to stay up on what's going on in the industry and the new technology. So by the time I've got my perfect car built, it's gonna be out of date, and I'm going to want new things. So for most of us, building the analytics solution is not our expertise. It's not what our business does. We need to focus on what our business does and trust these vendors. Let's push them. Let's make them get the product to do what we need it to do. But at the end of the day, we're wasting a lot of cycles saying we can build a better mousetrap. In most cases, we can't. That's it.